This is game 3 of the Swiss rounds of a Cornerstone event that we had in Portland, Oregon at the Portland Game Store. The top of the screen is a player named Scott, and he came down from Seattle to play in this tournament. Scott also has a YouTube channel for Old School Magic. It doesn't look like he's posted anything recently, but he did do like some short videos about his trip down to this Cornerstone event in a vlog format, and I think posted them onto Instagram and TikTok. I'll link those in the description below. Turn 2, Scott flipping over a Rift Valley, advancing the Pathfinder forward. Again, Pathfinder is an interesting avatar to play. It's captivated the attention of a lot of players since that card came out. There's a lot of innate value in being able to ramp steadily with mana and sights, because every turn you get to just flip a sight over from the Atlas and play it. Now it does leave you beholden to the randomization of top decking from the Atlas, but it is a guaranteed sight that you get to play out as long as you're in a position to play it. Turn 2, Stew getting out a hamlet, or not a hamlet, a town. Pretty dangerous for his deck. His deck is pretty aggressive, has a lot of very good, exceptional minions in it. And then he's advancing Tawny forward. Typically, when Stew is on the play, I've seen that he likes to be a little more conservative and leave Tawny on the back row if he's facing a deck where he thinks that fire is going to be a major composition, just because he doesn't want to get Tawny pinged by a desert. But against the matchup here with Scott and Pathfinder, because you can only have one of each site in the Atlas at the most, the chances of him grabbing another desert were relatively low. He did luck in on that top deck on the Atlas into a Mirror Realm, and then he did choose to call Desert to ping Tawny out. So that was a good flip for Scott. And then for 3 mana, playing out a Colicky, pinging Stew at the end of turn here. So a strong start. A strong start for the Pathfinder. Stew now has a Colicky Dragons at his doorstep there, about to swing into the town on the next turn. It's still early game, so he does have a ton of cards. I'm sure he has a ton of answers in his hand. And when he plays that site, he is going to get that innate value from playing Druid, bringing Tawny back on the summon. Desert coming into play, pinging Colicky for 1. He needs a way to do 2 more points of damage to remove the Colicky this turn. And he sort of has to ideally be able to do that, just because if he leaves it in place on the next turn, Colicky is going to move up onto town, and then Scott would have the option to ping Tawny with its projectile at end of turn. So not ideal for Stew, potentially taking 3 points of damage and then getting Tawny removed before he has a chance to make use of that minion. Stew's thinking long and hard here. 3 mana for turn, right? Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Again, like I said, he's got 1 point already onto the Colicky. He needs 2 more. Ideally, I mean, like a Violimp would do it. I don't think he has a Violimp in his hand, otherwise I'm sure that would have come out. That feels like a real easy play. And he doesn't have it. 2 for the Jihad to set up his future turns here. 1 mana left for turn. I doubt he has a play for 1 mana. Yeah, so Scott's going to get that turn that I was describing earlier. He's going to be able to attack into town for 3 points, and then potentially ping. He could either ping the Druid or he could ping Tawny, but I think there's more value into denying the Druid player Tawny whenever possible. So I think it's highly likely that's what we see here on Scott's turn 4. He's playing a core into his Pathfinder's hand, so the Pathfinder is the bearer. Still 3 mana left in his mana pool for turn. He'll have 4 when he taps to use the Pathfinder ability to get another sight. So activating the ability, choosing which empty void to place the pillar in, which adjacent void. He's going to go to the edge of the board there with Pillar of Zyros. Pillar, no benefit on the Genesis for him this early in the game. And again, that is one of the risks you take when you play Pathfinder. You are beholden to whatever you're top decking off of that Atlas. You don't get to choose the order. And there go 3 points in with the Colicky on the attack to town. Jihad is a good placement for Stew there. It's a good setup early here. He has a lot of fire minions that can get a little more scary when they're beefed up. Scott using his 4 mana to play a Siege Giant, playing it on the Pathfinder. Now that is one of the tricks with Pathfinder. You can find yourself boxed in without a free space to play his Atlas ability. Choosing not to use the Giants to throw the Pathfinder yet, I think that was a mistake, just because the way that his turn is going to order now, he's going to need to move the Pathfinder, and then the Giants would be out of position to throw it. And the Giants are already out of position to be able to attack in. Stew coming up with a combination solution here to go ahead and remove the Colicky Dragonettes from the board, putting Lion onto the board. Lion pretty far away from being able to start tagging the Pathfinder, but it is a problem for any minions that Scott wants to get on the board here. Scott activating the Pathfinder ability, using a sinkhole, advancing the sinkhole forward on that edge. And again, this is what I was talking about. Like he used that ability first and moved forward, and now the Giants are out of position to be able to throw him. And that is one of the movement tricks that is commonly used in the Pathfinder deck, to give that Pathfinder mobility and get replacements where you need it. I think he's zigging forward though here, just because he wants to ensure that he still has open void spots to travel to, and he's playing a pretty aggressive. He's playing a pretty aggressive Pathfinder deck, so he wants to be close to do things like get in position for firebolts. I think he moved forward specifically because he wanted the firebolts, the Lion for 3. And there's a Colicky to get that final point at end of turn. Choosing not to move the Siege Giants. I don't know if he meant to do that, or if that was just something that he overlooked before he passed turn. I think that's a mistake leaving it there, though. It leaves it out of position, and it leaves it too far behind to trail to catch up to the Pathfinder in most cases to throw it. Well, I guess it doesn't. It depends on how he orders his plays on his next turn. But at the very least, I I would have expected the giant to have moved to get into position to be able to attack in, or threaten to attack into one of Stew's sites on his next turn. So Stew moving Tawny up and attacking for 1 point of damage. Tawny is considered an air minion. The token is considered an air minion, I believe, so does not take advantage of the power boost from Jihad. Jihad only boosting fire power, fire minions power. Stew hasn't made a play yet, sitting at 4 mana in his mana pool. 4 mana for Pact with the Devil, so sacrificing Tawny, drawing 2 spells and 1 sight. I don't think he had a sight in hand, so I think he drew the sight to be able to play a sight on this turn immediately. And then playing a Warhorse. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think the Warhorse is a misplay, because it would Pact with the Devil's 4 mana. Playing out the Desert would be 5. Yeah, so I don't think he technically had enough mana. Oh no! Excuse me. He played it on the town. So the town is going to give a discount of 1. So that's how that worked out. And then a good play for Stew there, just because the Warhorse, when it moves to attack in with charge there, it's going to be affected by Jihad, and get that +1. So 3 points in. Let's see. Scott attacking in with the Colicky. Scott asking if you could just rewind really quick here. So attacking in. So the ordering here is attacking in with the Colicky, using the Sinkhole to destroy, I think that was a desert, to destroy Stew's desert, and then activating the Pathfinder's ability and replacing the rubble where the desert used to be with his own site. And he lucked into a poison well there, which is great placement. It's going to ping Stew for 2. I don't think they updated the life totals on the life tracker app that they're using on his phone yet, but that would be 2 points of damage in. And then 6 mana, because he still had that mana generated from the Sinkhole this turn at the beginning of turn, even though he used the ability to play a Infernal Legion. So Infernal Legion is going to essentially be a board wipe here for Stew at end of turn. It'll combust, dealing 3 points of damage to both everything adjacent to it. So 3 points to Tawny, 3 points to the Warhorse, which is enough to remove those, and provides a serious threat to Stew here on this next coming turn. Just because if he can't answer the Infernal Legion, that's going to be potential of 9 points of damage coming in. If he lands an attack on town, that would be 6 points, and then at the end of turn, it can combust onto the Druid for another 3. Stew playing a desert. I think, yeah, chose to ping the Infernal Legion, but it summons Tawny. It doesn't matter because his solution was to cast Immolation from Tawny to deal 7 points directly and remove the Infernal Legion. So he had an answer. It was a good answer. Super mana efficient for his turn, only cost him 1. And he still has 4 mana left after that. 4 mana left, and town is still in the center of the map for him there. So it looks like they're talking. They're updating their life totals on their tracker app in the game now. Stu forgot to track the poison well damage in real time. Scott, like, another turn passed without using that siege giant. I think it's like he forgot that the siege giant was there almost. Stu playing his own siege giant in, and that siege giant is going to start being problematic, I think, because if he can get it up onto one of the sites affected by Jihad, then it becomes a 5-power minion, which is going to gradually outclass, I assume, like the majority of Scott's minion power curve there. As it stands right now, he doesn't even need the +1 on his next turn. If the board state were to remain the same here with the placements, he could still he could just attack in and straight up remove the Colicky Dragonets. With the giant at 4 power, the Colickys at 3. And this is where I think, like, Scott, I don't know if he was trying to be more defensive with the giant, or if he just forgot about that giant on the Pillar of Zyros site there. But if he had been taking more movements with it during these last 2 turns, it might be in a better position to make use here somehow. So at a minimum, he could run it into, if he was in position somewhere, he could maybe run it into the siege giant and trade before Stu's siege giant gets into the Jihad affected sites. Or he could. He's using a blaze. Maybe he's using the blaze to get the siege giant into position. So blaze is +2 power. He could use the blaze to trade his siege giant with Stu's siege giant. I think he's thinking about that. So he could take advantage of that with the plus movement. And then, oh no. So he's instead targeting his Pathfinder, having the Pathfinder use the ability. Pathfinder is going to burn through the siege giant. I think also it's going to do 2 points of damage to his Colicky. Blaze, I believe, applies the damage to sites for sites departed, not sites entered. So I don't think they calculated Blaze correctly here. I think they're thinking that Blaze deals the 2 to sites entered along the path, when the card specifies that sites departed on the path. So the Colicky would take 2, and then unfortunately the Firebolts would bleed through and deal another point of damage and kill the Colicky. I think that's how that would work, but that's it doesn't look like that's something that they caught during this game, so that's not how they're going to play it. So Stu playing out a Saracen, trading to remove Scott's Colicky, playing out his own Colicky, end of turn pinging Pathfinder for a point. Scott has had a pretty good turn this game. He's got a he pulled a smokestack. He's moving the smokestack over. I think I would choose to maybe, I don't know if it super matters at this point with since Stew has 5 mana now, but I would maybe tuck it in directly adjacent to his home site. That way the smokestack would turn off the town site ability and deny Stew that additional discount. I don't know if that super matters. Like I said, at this point, just because he's at 5 mana, he can still cast at least 1 spell a turn, but it might stop like a pivotal turn in the future from Stew being able to double cast 2 exceptional minions onto town instead. So I don't know, like if he had a Saracen Raider with another Saracen with the discount or something like that. Scott picked 5 for a Panorama Manicore, which is a good threat that Stew is going to have to deal with here. Again, like choosing to ignore the Siege Giant on his turn, and I think he got tunnel vision and just forgot that it's there. I don't see a huge strategic value in just leaving it on the pillar for the entire game. But like I said, Scott has had a pretty good game here. Like the game has played out in his favor. He's got a lot of favorable top decks from the Atlas, and his deck has done kind of what it wants to do. It wants to be aggressive, get an early lead, and win the race to door, and then be in a position nearby the enemy Druid, the enemy avatar, to be able to get that final kill on death's door. Stew attacking in with the Dragonettes, and here's where we start to see Jihad starting to become a bit of a danger. Just because Dragonettes attacking in for 4 points of damage. With the boost from Jihad. Scott could block it with the Manticore. Manticore has Airborne to get there. However, that would be 4 points in, and then Stew could just finish off the Manticore with Tawny. So I mean, he's by attacking in with the Dragonettes in those positions, he's kind of inviting Scott to do a 2-for-1 trade there. And it's almost not a 2-for-1, just because like it would be guaranteed that Stew would get Tawny back. He would just have to play a site, and he did have a site. He plays out Wizard's Den all the way up in the corner there. A relatively safe-ish spot for that site at this point in the game. It would probably take Scott at least a turn or two to get up there and attack it to force the discard. He is in a position with the Pathfinder to start making a run up to the Wizard's Den. So he could play. He could use the Atlas ability on his next turn and get within striking distance there, or have a launching pad for one of his minions if he had a charge minion, for example, to get in there. I don't think Stew has used any of his mana yet. So all he's done is attack in with the Colicky, played out Wizard's Den. So he's still he's sitting at full mana in his mana pool. It's six mana at this point. 6 mana is a lot of mana. You can virtually cast most things in the game on that curve. You're at the top. You're pretty much at the top of most curves. Especially for Stew's deck and Mono Fire Druid, the curve is much lower. So you got a lot of you've got a lot of 3s and some 4s, like 2s, 3s, 4s in your deck, especially with that discount from town, discounting down exceptional minions. Like the curve is much lower for him. So Tawny swinging in for a point of damage, Colicky Dragonette coming out onto the town, in position to fire a projectile at the Pathfinder at end of turn, just for an extra point in, but also 2 Colikies on the board threatening its damage potential of like 8 just from the Colikies if left unanswered here, which is again a super dangerous position to be in, and he can't. It is hard to go to door with Colikies on the board, just because they present a real threat once you hit door yourself. Just because all your opponent has to do at that point is get their positioning correct, and then pass turn. And if the projectile hits, that's the end of the game. So yeah, Scott, I think in a tough position right now. I would not be happy to be facing down 2 Colicky Dragonettes with the Jihad on board. They're just double checking the life totals and making sure those were correct. Scott now realizing that he's left the Siege Giant over there the entire game. Yeah, like I said, I think that was just an oversight on his part and probably a mistake, which is going to come back to bite him now. Just because yeah, like if the Siege Giant had been in better position now or at any other time previously during this game, he might be in a better position or have more different board presence to be able to handle what Stew has. Using the Pathfinder ability to play Ruins, moving back towards that Wizard's Den. Doing a quick mana count here for I think it's 8 including the core. That's what they were discussing. I think Scott is considering, he wants to remove the one of the Colikies with the Manticore. He's just confirming how defending would work. So if he declared an attack on the one that is already up on the Jihad, and he declared defend with the other, he could have both remain in combat and both block the Manticore to kill the Manticore, which is not like it's not the worst trade in the world in my opinion. Just sacrificing the Manticore to get rid of both Colikies, but it's not something that is forced upon Stew to block. It's just something that could happen. So I don't even know if that is like the best play. He could just swing in with the Manticore on the untapped Colicky, and Stew would have no defenders as an option. Moving the Siege Giant forward just to start getting it into position to do something. And I think he's just using the Manticore to swing in to the untapped Colicky for the guaranteed removal. Playing a Hamlet's Ablaze onto one of Stew's deserts. And Scott, I think, not realizing the Manticore has an ability where if you play a non-fire spell at the end of turn, the Manticore gets to untap. which would be potentially good for him, just because the Colikies couldn't attack into the site again without having a potential blocker on board there. But Scott not realizing it had to be a non-fire spell in order to activate that ability. I don't think it's going to prevent... It's not going to make him not want to do the Hamlet's Ablaze. He has a second Hamlet's Ablaze there, so yeah, like targeting the Forge, both of those ordinary sites. Going to blow up Stew's sites here. Not on this turn, but at the beginning of his next turn. And I didn't see, but Scott might be out of cards in his hand now. He might be in top deck mode at this point. Stew's still sitting pretty. I think he's got like four spells in his hand. So he's got that Manticore to deal with. He's got that Siege Giant to deal with. The Colikies are 4 power under the effect of Jihad. Plus Torse Hammer +1 onto the Coliki with a Shatter Strike. So the Shatter Strike will strike the Manticore with no repercussions, and then swinging into the site for 5 damage, and then taunting for another point. Getting Scott dangerously close. Giving Scott another point of damage at the end of turn. Getting Scott dangerously close to door, but Stu can't get him to door on that turn. Beginning of Scott's turn here, the Hamlet's Blaze, both those Hamlet's Blaze go off and destroy those sites, turning them into rubble. Scott in position with his Pathfinder to attack the Wizard's Den, force a discard. Force a discard on Stew. I think that is a good play because he's not really in position to. I mean, he could tap to put a sight onto the rubble that he's adjacent to. I just don't think that's going to get him anything. Siege Giant could swing into the Coliki and trade, and I think that is a good play if he doesn't have a better way to remove that thing. You don't want to leave that on the board. Especially when you are dangerously close to getting the door there. I think like I said before, like if you have an unanswered Coliki Dragonets and you're at door, like all your opponent has to do is get positioning and win the game. Scott, instead of attacking the Wizard, choosing to use the Pathfinder ability to flip over another site, Funeral Pyre. I don't think the Genesis is not going to do any good in this matchup here. He's got a ton of mana. I think what did we say before? 8, so he's now at 9 mana. It's like all the mana in the world. And that is one of the Pathfinder's like strongest powers. Just being able to steadily ramp up mana for free, essentially. Yeah, trading with the Siege Giant into the Colikis, playing a Wayfaring Pilgrim, and then passing turn. So again, yeah, like I think he's top decking at this point. Like he probably drew that Pilgrim that turn, and doesn't have any more answers in his deck currently. Getting the Pathfinder into position to, if the Pathfinder lives, it can attack the Wizard's Den on the next turn, force a discard, and also draw him a card. Unfortunately, Stu playing out a Desert to ping the Pilgrim to remove it, so going to deny that from him. Torse Hammer Trinket on the Tawny, swinging in for door. The last 2 points that he needed. Stu just passing the turn at that point. Scott in a pretty difficult position, I think, here. just in top deck mode. I think he's too far behind to stabilize now. Stew showing, I think he has 2, maybe 3 cards in his hand, which is never a good sign. when your opponent has you at door and has potentially the answers. Scott running away, just backing off from Tawny. He can't. I mean, he can't stay within range of Tawny just because he needs to be able to. He can't leave himself open to an attack on door. Playing an Escalon Phoenix in a defensive position, which will help screen against projectiles. So like a firebolt from Tawny can't get to him. Stew, however, I think drew into an answer here. I think he's got a couple answers. He's got 5 cards. He's got 5 cards in his hand now with that draw. 5 cards, all spells, and probably enough mana to do what he wants. 1, 2, 3. Still 5 mana. Yeah. Moving his Druid forward. Playing a Hillock Basilisk to disable the Escalon Phoenix. Moving Tawny up. So didn't quite have the pieces, I think, for the puzzle to get him on that turn. But Hillock Basilisk, a very strong play at this point in the game, just like locking and disabling that Phoenix. And then next turn here, I think like Stu just just being really friendly, like I said, like our community has a real friendly, inviting, casual vibe. So they're kind of just discussing what Scott's options are here. You can't go back to the Wizards then, just because Tawny can then immediately kill him on the next turn. Stu had the answer on the next turn, and that is end of game 3. We'll move on to game 4.